Hey there, this is Jennie Potter, and welcome to Self Sabotage No More, the podcast where we dive into ways to stop self sabotaging, stop repeating the past, and start creating your ideal future. This podcast is intended to inspire you and give you tangible tools and understanding alongside your personal growth journey. My divine mission is to help you get out of your own way and step into your God given gifts. I want to make sure that you know I am not trying to diagnose or cure any kind of emotional, physical, or psychological illness. If you feel like you're a danger to yourself or others, please seek help from a qualified health professional. All right, let's jump in and continue along the journey to self sabotage no more. Hey there, I'm Jennie Potter, and I am excited to bring to you my second episode, Your Life on Autopilot, and how this is unwittingly sabotaging you and your dreams. You may or may not know, but you may have set your life on autopilot before the age of 12, determined where you were going to land, where you were headed, what was possible for you and not possible for you. And today we're going to dive into why that happens and do one tangible, simple exercise that will help you reset and instead head to the destination of your dreams. If you don't know me, I'm Jennie Potter. I am author of Self Sabotage No More. I am an inspirational speaker. I am a coach. And my favorite thing, my goal, my love is to help people get out of their own way and step into their God-given gifts and their God-given purpose. My goal is to help you identify and release what has been holding you back from living your best life. This is my divine mission. I am absolutely excited to share with you this episode on your life on autopilot. Now, if you've procrastinated for no reason, or you feel like you're never good enough, or you have this persistent underlying feeling of guilt, maybe you just don't feel like you're living up to your potential, or you want to make a change. You want to build a bigger income, build your business, make more money, lose that extra weight, whatever it is. But it feels like you're always sabotaging or it just never happens. You commit that you're going to do the thing, whatever the thing is tomorrow, but the next day it just doesn't happen. And you vow to yourself, this time it will be different. But tomorrow comes and you hit the snooze button, or it's not different and you don't get started. And so it's almost as if this hidden force, you know what's good for you know what you need to do, but there's this hidden force holding you back, keeping you from committing to the changes that you want to make, keeping you in the comfort zone that is super uncomfortable. And in short, you sabotage yourself. If you can relate to any of the things that I just said, then you're in the right place today, because we're going to be talking about throughout this entire series, based on my book, Self Sabotage No More. We're going to be working our way through tangible ways to get out of your own way and step into the life that you want to be living, but somehow can't seem to get on track with. Now, you might be someone that is moving forward. This was me a couple years ago. Now, if you checked me out 15 years ago, I was sabotaging left, right, and center. But a couple of years ago, I was still moving forward. I was still doing well. I was still earning a good income, getting awards and accolades and things like that, showing up in places, stepping out of my comfort zone. But there wasn't a flow. It almost felt as if I was chest deep in water, walking as hard as I could walk or trying to run, but there was weights on my ankles. And so if you're a leader, if you're someone that is progressing, but it feels like there's a limit, or it feels like you're always having to work so hard or hustle or push hard to get the things that you're wanting to achieve, stay connected, stay listening, because this is also for you. After I identified and released what was holding me back, even when I was making progress, it was as if someone moved me up from the chest deep water onto the beach, onto the sidewalk. It was as if God magically picked me up and put me on the sidewalk. And not only that, but released the weights and the heaviness that had been holding me back. Suddenly, the goals that I set came more fluidly, came with flow, came with ease. And just to give you an example, I had wanted to write a book for years. After I identified and released the beliefs and emotions and adjusted my autopilot, which we're going to jump into today, reset my filters, after I did all that, it was as if the weights disappeared. I had wanted to write a book for years, and in this last year, I published 2, pretty much back to back, right after I released, those things that were holding me back. So, as promised, I will give you a tangible tool every single episode for you to use. Some of these are in my book, some of these are not. These are some of my favorite coaching tools that I use with people when they're trying to figure out how to get out of their own way. So, your life on autopilot. Now, you may or may not know, but before the age of 12, you have decided what is possible for you. That's probably the simplest way to put it. You've created some beliefs about who you are, where you come from, what's possible in the world. And so we do this naturally. We're kind of, we make a lot of meaning out of a lot of things. So we look around and we collect evidence. Okay. We look at, oh, this is how the world works. This is how the world works. And so if you had parents that fought, or you had a very peaceful home, or you had everything given to you, or you had to work for everything, or if you had a mom who struggled to pay the bills, or a dad who wasn't around a lot, or who was always around, you looked at them, you watched them, you looked at other adults, you looked at your friends, you looked at school, you looked at your surroundings, and you gathered evidence of how the world works. Okay. And then in your mind, you decided what was possible for you. Now, some of you made a really cool declaration, like, no matter what, I am going to succeed, or I'm going to be rich beyond my wildest dreams, or I'm going to be an artist or a writer or a singer or whatever it was. And some of you decided along the way that you needed a plan B, or your plan B was your plan A, or it wasn't okay to dream, or whatever. And so I want to talk about autopilot. And if you've read my book, you'll know this story, but I really want to share this story because this was one of the most impactful stories or analogies that I can share around this topic. When I was around 12 years old, my father, who was a commercial pilot, asked me if I wanted to go on a 2-night overnight trip to Mexico with him. Now, this story always makes me a little teary because he's passed away now. In fact, it was his heavenly birthday yesterday, and I miss him dearly. But my father was very competent. He loved to fly, and he was good at it. And of course, I said yes. I was 12, and it was Mexico, and we live in Canada, and it sounded wonderful. And so I got to go with my dad to Mexico. And so about 20 minutes before the plane landed, the flight attendant came back and grabbed me and said, "Hey, Jenny, your dad wants you up in the cockpit." So I got up to the cockpit and I sat in the jump seat, which is this little seat that flips down behind the cockpit or behind the captain's seat. And of course, these were the days before 9/11 when you could go in the cockpit and check things out. And so there I was with dad and the co-pilot, big blue sky. And my father went to descend the plane. And as he touched the controls, this alarm went off in the cockpit. It was this woman's voice, and I'll never forget. It just in a very loud, scary voice with a siren was this pull up, terrain ahead, over and over and over. My father, who calls me JJ, called me JJ, he said, JJ, do not speak. And I sat there quiet as a mouse as my dad and the co-pilot tried to figure out what was going on. There was no terrain ahead, but the plane, the autopilot settings would not let them descend. And so after doing a million checks and trying to figure out what was going on, which was obviously a glitch, my father said to the co-pilot, "We're going manual." And in my memory, he shut everything down, including the woman's voice. Pull up, terrain ahead, terrain ahead. Everything went silent. And my father flew the plane in and landed safely. I often forget to tell the part that we landed safely, so I wanted to make sure that I included that. It was just a glitch. And this is what our brains do when we decide we want to do something different. We decide something that doesn't fit our autopilot setting that we set before the age of 12. And just to remind you, the scary version of who is controlling the autopilot, who is setting up the autopilot, who has determined where your destination is the 7-year-old you, is the 6-year-old you, is the 12-year-old you. And nobody told you you were doing the programming. And no one told you what was possible. And no one told you that you could reset this autopilot. This is just what happened. You set your sights on a certain destination. Now, again, for some of you, this was a good destination and this was a fit for you. For many of you, this destination was a destination that no longer is serving you now. And here's the thing. If you don't know where you set your destination to, it might be, I'm not worthy of success, money equals pain, I'll never be happy in love, artists don't make money, you can't make money from a book, dreams are for dreamers. I don't know, whatever it was. Maybe you had a well-meaning art teacher. Maybe art was your thing. Okay. And maybe you had a well-meaning art teacher who was like, look, you're great at art, but you're never going to make money at it. No one makes money at it. So make sure you pick something where you can make money and then just do your art for fun. And because you admired them and you believed them, you set your autopilot destination to artists don't make money and I got to get a different job. And so if you believe you can't make money with your art, it's harder to get to the destination of making money with your art. And so what we want to do here is we want to uncover some beliefs. And in future episodes, we're going to really dive into limiting beliefs, what I call sabotage beliefs. And we're going to learn how to identify them and release them. But for today's sake, just understand that you have an autopilot setting. If you've ever driven a car and gotten to where you're going and had that thought like, "Oh my goodness, I don't remember driving. Like, I don't remember stopping at the red lights. I don't remember turning right. I don't remember even looking." Then you know what this autopilot is capable of. You are extremely capable of doing a lot of things on autopilot. In fact, this is a brilliant design. This is a brain design that reduces need for energy. If you were always having to think through every single move, you would be more tired. You would be expending more energy. So instead, your body knows to hit the snooze. It goes on these, what I call neural highways. Okay. These are neural pathways. These are connections in your brain that you do over and over. So every morning you get up, you get your coffee, you do your thing, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, you step into all of these habits because it reduces your need for thinking, for using up valuable energy. And so anything you can automate, your body and your brain wants. Okay. And so if you do this with intention, it's awesome. Because if you intentionally set up your autopilot to say affirmations in the morning and to celebrate your wins and to go for a walk and eat healthy food and do all of the things that are good for you that you know are good for you, then your autopilot serves you. But if your autopilot is reaching for sugar or sleeping in or not doing exercise or falling into that I'll do it tomorrow kind of habit, you may look back and wonder where the year went and why nothing has changed. And so, to put this another way, when you do decide that you want to reset your autopilot destination, okay, to a better destination, let's just say you watch a YouTube video or you go to a convention or you read a personal growth book and you make this decision, that's it. I'm going to lose that 30 pounds that I've been declaring I'm going to lose for 20 years. Tomorrow it starts. Tomorrow I'm going to lose that weight no matter what. You make that decision and something happens, and this is what you want to understand, is that your alarm goes off, and this is a glitch. Okay? Literally your body goes, pull up, terrain ahead, because the body and the brain like you staying in automation. When you make a decision to make a change, it kind of gets harder, okay? Expend more energy. And so what we want to do is be conscious of this so that we can override it, just like my dad did. Turn everything off, shut down, bank right, and go manual to the destination of your dreams. Another way to put this is if you've ever had an alarm go off in the kitchen, let's say your roommate's in the kitchen making something and the alarm goes off. Now, do you run? Do you open the window and jump out the window or run screaming out the door when the smoke detector goes off? Or do you go to the kitchen and see if it's something burnt on the stove or just burnt toast? Most people will go to the kitchen and check. Most people won't just jump out the window. But what we do when we set a goal to, let's just say, I always use the example of going to Success City. So you make a decision, you're on this highway you've been on for so long. You think you're driving the bus, okay? And you make the decision, that's it. I'm taking exit 33 to Success City. I'm going to change my ways. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to find the love of my life. I'm going to have a happy marriage. I'm going to be successful in my business. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to, whatever the goal is, whatever the dream is, whatever the thing is, You make that decision. This is it. I'm taking that exit to Success City. And it seems like you blink and you pass the exit. Maybe you'll take it tomorrow. Maybe you'll take it next week. Maybe you'll take it September 1st or January 1st. Maybe you'll take it when someone wants to take it with you. But all that's happening here is that alarm, the smoke detector has gone off, okay? And you've got to reach up and hit that reset button. You've got to understand what's happening. So when you go to hit the snooze or you feel like, oh, I really don't want to do that thing, you have to manually override. You have to shift gears and understand that your body is designed very, very cleverly. And you have to override this because this is an automation. And you are not an automation. You are unique and beautiful and magnificent. And you have all of these gifts inside of you. Some of them you haven't discovered yet. Some of them you know about, but you're not using. You have all of these dreams that are on your heart that it's time to discover and move towards. And so having the awareness that it's just your autopilot setting kicking in, it's just a glitch in the system. It's just burnt toast. In fact, I had a very good friend say to me that now whenever she goes to pull back, I think she was talking about joining a yoga class, and now she's doing yoga regularly. And she said, I tell myself it's just burnt toast. And so if you can just tell yourself, hey, this is just burnt toast. I got to keep pushing through. I've got to do this. I want to reset to a new destination. Hopefully that will serve you. Now, as promised, I always give a tangible tool for an exercise that you can do if you choose that will help you reset and shift towards the destination of your dreams. And so this exercise is going to help you bank right, change your destination, shift you out of autopilot. And it's really, really simple. This is the timeline exercise. So if you listen to our last episode, we did a ideal life exercise, which kind of gave you an idea of maybe the new destination that you want to head to. But it's kind of cool to look back and see and forward, and I'll give specific instructions in a moment. But it's kind of cool to understand where you might have set your destination. It might have gone awry, okay? The programming might have been glitched. So I want you to write down on a piece of paper, and you can turn the paper horizontal if you want to for more space, but write a line right across the paper and then write 0 on one end of that line and let's say 100. You can do whatever, but we want to do past and future. So let's do 150 years, whatever. Doesn't really matter for the sake of the exercise. And then mark on that line your current age, okay? And so then I want you to look back and mark before you mark it on the timeline. If you need to, if you like things to be neat and tidy, you could just kind of write out, when I think back about my life, what were impactful moments? When you graduated, something a teacher said to you. This can be like a teacher mocking you in front of the class and you getting embarrassed. Did you have a tough time with your parents? Were you ever bullied? Were you encouraged? What were some of the significant moments? If you were sharing with someone who you are and you grab stories from the past, what would be some of the significant moments? These are good and bad. Nothing's really bad, but we can see how things have shaped us in a negative way. And so, of course, we can use all of that to serve us moving forward. But just looking back, what are the moments when you decided to make a change, when you were hurt, when you decided to quit? Okay. So just fill out the timeline to this age now. And then I want you to point a pointer down towards the sort of, I'm 47, so I'm going to say 47 to 150. I would point an arrow down to that section and I would write my ideal life. Okay. And so, what are some things that could happen in the future on your future timeline? That are beautiful, magical, miraculous, divine, God sent. What are some things that are happening in your future? And so you can pull from the last episode's exercise of the ideal life. If you didn't do the exercise, no big deal. That's pretty normal. That's like a sabotage technique right there, is to listen and not do, is to think, I don't need to do that. I already know that. Or this is classic autopilot stuff, is to listen to the exercise, but not actually take 5 minutes and do the exercise. So, encouragement here, if your autopilot is, I'm not going to do this exercise, I don't need to, I've done this before, this is dumb, I already know how to do this, whatever, just take a moment, set the timer on your phone for 5 minutes and sketch out this exercise. And if you didn't do the ideal life, what are some things that would be super cool if they happen in the future? So, to give you an example, for me, New York Times bestseller is on that future timeline. Okay. You don't have to give it an age in the future. You can just pop things in there. You can give it an age. It's totally cool. You make the rules, you design it. What we're doing here is we're resetting. We're starting to learn what we believed about where we were going, and we're starting to learn where we want to go. It is helpful to know where we want to go to shape and design our ideal life and step fully into our divine mission. And so, with that, I thank you for listening to another episode of Self Sabotage No More with Jennie Potter. And I look forward to hearing from you or seeing you in my Facebook community. Thank you so much for the amazing reviews. Just scroll down and write a review for this podcast or for this episode, depending on what platform you're listening to. Thanks again. Have an amazing day. And until episode 3, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to an episode of Self Sabotage No More with Jennie Potter. If you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and make a comment, do a rating, give a testimonial. If you have not yet read my book, Self Sabotage No More, you can find it on Amazon and many of the other book buying, book listening apps. So check it out, Self Sabotage No More. And one last thing, if you would like to join my community and learn more on a weekly basis on how you can get out of your own way and step into your best life, please request to join my Facebook group community at Self Sabotage No More with Jennie Potter. You can find out all of this information, including working one-on-one with me, coaching wise, at jenniepotter.com. Thanks again for listening, and bye for now.